Assumption that everyone in the room knows who I am and what I do. I should probably give a brief. Did he mention, the gentleman here that was telling you all the things you cannot do? Did he mention what I do and who I am and all that kind of stuff? No. Okay, so my name is Roger Craig Smith. I'm a professional, that's in quotes, working voice actor. I'm based in Los Angeles. So I do voices for TV shows and cartoons and video games and commercials and on-hold music and all that good stuff. Let's see. I was so bad about this yesterday. Apex Legends, I'm the voice of Mirage in that. I've been the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog since 2010. I'm not in the upcoming movie. Let's see. I voiced Ezio in the Assassin's Creed series. I did Chris Redfield for Resident Evil. I did Captain America for Avengers Assemble on Disney XD. Unikitty. Unikitty. I was Hawkadile and Richard in Unikitty. I've done countless episodes. Did 7 seasons of regular show where I was Thomas the intern, as well as all sorts of different, taco vendor number 4. Let's see, what else? What am I forgetting? Ben 10, do Diamond Head and Steam Smythe and Forever Knight on the recent series of Ben 10, the current series of Ben 10. I was Rip Slinger in Disney's Planes. I am the retail voice of Ram Trucks, so you'll hear a voice come on that does what's known as the branding voice, the person who helps sort of like make you want to buy the truck, and then I come in at the end and you hear me go, right now, well-qualified lessees can lease the all-new 2019 Ram 1500 for $279 a month, as well as all radio stuff. Trying to think, I was the voice, the announcing voice on World of Dance on NBC. For many years, I did many seasons of a show on TLC called Say Yes to the Dress. I was the narrator of that. I narrated shows like House Crashers, Yard Crashers, Bath Crashers, Kitchen Crashers, Room Crashers on the DIY network. At some point, I'll just break out the IMDb because I'm sure I'm forgetting something. Oh, Batman! I was Batman in Arkham Origins as well as Batman Ninja and the Batman Unlimited series. Thank you. And I'm an open book, and like he said, we try to keep it clean. I actually follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Roger Craig Smith. It's a very family-friendly account. I do a lot of stupid dad jokes and things like that. Your kids can actually follow me safely. And though I might have a mouth like a truck driver outside of school, when I'm in school, which is what I'm doing right now, we keep it very clean. So if you do the same, I'm appreciative. And that's about it. And we can literally ask me anything. We've got a nice, decent little intimate group here, so I think we'll have plenty of time to kind of cover all things. If you're an aspiring voice actor, if you like a voice that I do, I can do a voice request and things like that. But don't ask me to talk smack on your enemy's Twitter account or something like that. I've gotten that. Could you in your Sonic voice say that Tails Channel 94 stinks? And it's like, no, I'm not doing that. So there you have it. First question. See, it's like the parade. It's so much pressure. You can scoot closer or even sit down so you don't have to stand for that. We want to just leave it in the stand.
Yeah, that was not supposed to happen. Thanks, Roger.
Thank you, sir.
My name's Brandon.
Brandon, how are you, sir?
Been a long-time fan.
Oh, lovely. Thank you.
Yeah. So how did the voice of Sonic come about? Did it come out from the top of your head, or?
It comes out of mostly my mouth. The top of my head would be it'd be kind of scary. I'd be like one of the Canadian characters in Team America.
Just what I did
Team America,
when I was walking to
South
the
Park
mic.
movie. What's that?
Just what I did when I was walking to the mic.
Was it coming out of the top of your head at that point? No, so how did I come up with the voice of Sonic?
Yes.
So I took over in 2010 for voice of Sonic the Hedgehog, and I think the first one we did was Sonic Free Riders, I think was the very first game featuring my voice at that time. So this is how this works. A lot of people will ask, as a voice actor, how do I come up with the character? And the real answer, truly, is that I don't. This is a very, very collaborative industry. So my job as a voice actor is I get, agency calls me up and they say, hey, we want you got this audition for this character. Go to this location at such and such a time and give it a shot. So I show up, and it turns out there's a voice director there or a casting director. Sometimes they're one and the same. And they are holding the casting for this particular character. And at that time, I showed up, and they were showing videos of the previous versions of Sonic the Hedgehog that had existed. And with this new sort of iteration, they were hoping that we would kind of age him up just a little bit, kind of make him a little bit older. And so what we do is I work with a writer or a director or a producer, and they'll say, so he's kind of snarky and sarcastic, and so he's kind
Like a
of
teenager.
nasally. What's that?
Like a teenager.
Like a teenager, exactly. And so we might start off here, and they go, "It's too cartoony," and you're like, "Oh, okay, bring it down here." Like, no, it sounds too much like you. Or they start to help me shape the voice, and that's my job, is to try to listen to what they're saying. Is it nasally? Is it a little more breathy? Is it
You're
low
kind of
register?
taking inspiration from Jaleel White.
Yep.
In a way, which honestly, he's going to be in San Mateo for Toy Expo.
Yeah.
And he was the original voice of Sonic back in the day.
Exactly. So they played me that video file of Jaleel White from the first Sonic X cartoon. Was it Sonic?
Sonic the Hedgehog.
Sonic the Hedgehog. That was right. That was so Jaleel White, Urkel, if you guys
Yes.
know, was literally the first voice of Sonic the Hedgehog.
Trust me, as a '90s kid myself, I kind of know this kind of stuff. And
Yeah. Well, I'm not telling you. I know. I can tell you know.
I was
It's for
born
the
in
general
I was born
audience
in
here.
95, so
Because there are other people. I just, I have to also address them.
Right.
Brandon, right?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. No, so that was part of the process. Literally taking like the little bits of footage that they were showing us of Jaleel White as Sonic, and then saying, but we want to kind of age it up a little bit. They were just trying to make it a little more contemporary so that it didn't still feel like a 90s version. And so we did a lot of things. That's like the Sonic Boom cartoon that we worked on, that kind of thing. We kind of messed around with the world and played around with it.
Which I enjoyed, and let me tell you, Travis Willingham doing
Knuckles.
doing the feminist thing.
Oh, yeah.
That was absolutely
Yes.
genius.
He's the best.
You guys pulled that off without a hitch.
Brandon, thank you for the question, sir. I'm going to let somebody else ask their question.
Loving the stupid that you've done with Tara.
Thank you. It's
Keep
stupid
it
crap that I
up.
do with Tara.
Keep
So-
it up, man.
Thank you, man. He's talking about a little video that Tara Strong, I should say, Tara, as if you all know. You know Tara? Tara Strong, very accomplished voice actor in the business, and she and I randomly started doing something silly where I literally would show up to sessions with her, and the two of us I would always just sort of annoy her like a little brother. And as the engineers are setting up the microphones and that kind of thing, I would just walk up to her and start, going like, "Hey, Tara, do you like working with me, Tara? And she'd just get bothered, and she's like, no, leave me alone." And then finally I videotaped it one day, and I just like, "Are you happy to work with me, Tara? You like working with me, don't you? You love me." And she's like, "Well, why are you still here?" And so we posted it, and then people were like, "Oh, that's funny. It's like you're like, you're in love with her, or you're her little brother kind of thing." And then the next week we showed up we worked on Unikitty together. She was the voice of Unikitty. And so we showed up the next week, and she's like, "We should do another one of those videos." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And so I just said, "I won't tell you when. I'll just start rolling." And we did that, and then it became almost like this weekly thing. And now we're literally running out of ideas. We're like, what are we going to do this week? What are we going to do this time? But it's blowing up the internet. It's amazing. It's the hottest thing since sliced bread. It's not. It's just a silly little thing. Or stupid, as he described it as. Yeah. Hello.
Hello. I'm Jasmine. Thank you for
Jasmine.
coming.
Thank
I
you.
just have a quick question. So yesterday you mentioned at a panel that you have to be now you have to be more active in social media to
Yeah.
help you get roles. So I was thinking is that more like putting extra work on getting roles, or just is it impacting it, or is it making it harder, or?
So what she's asking about is, yesterday I was describing the fact that like in our industry in voiceover, which is kind of bizarre, they're wanting to make sure that we're more active on social media, because it actually is sort of factoring in on to how they're casting certain projects. Not all of them, but certain projects are looking at what is the reach, what is the interactivity of this particular actor, and do they sort of reach an audience, and does that benefit us to hire them for our project, which drives me crazy as a voice actor, because I think it's just ridiculous that they have to like look at that as opposed to kind of going, does this actor fit what we need and execute and provide a good voice. Because that's the job. It used to be our side of the business was that. We didn't have to worry about is my hair too gray, or is it not gray enough? Is it too thinning, or whatever it might be? Or am I having a bad hair day, or do I need to be bigger, stronger, cuter, not cute? Like all those things that factor into the on-camera world. Voiceover was always just about, are you good? Do you show up and do a good job? Then you book the role. And now we have this other little contingency, which is, can you be active on social media? I get it. It's the world we live in, but I do think it's actually affecting our lives and our world. And I don't know. I have my personal. I know you said no philosophical conversations, but I wonder if we're making ourselves a little crazy with this stuff, because it's always every time I know when I've spent too much time on Twitter, I start to get this like overall general anxiety sort of sense of like constant comparison of like, well, I'm not on that boat in Fiji going on vacation, I'm not dating that supermodel. It's like, what's wrong with me? You know, you start to get this, "Nyeh," or, oh, they've all got it figured out and they're doing the right thing and I'm not. That's just kind of how it goes with social media, so I'm not a big fan of it. But that being said, I have to be a part of it. So I've tried to do things like I was saying, I try to keep my Twitter and Instagram accounts, you know, family friendly. And since I voice a lot of children's characters and things, oh yeah, if you give a mouse a cookie, forgot about that. I'm the voice of Mouse and Moose in Amazon's If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, which is for basically little kids. And so if a mom or a dad say that, you know, we can see the person who voices this character, and they go to my Instagram feed and it's me, you know, dropping all sorts of interesting language and complaining about politics and things like that. I try not to do that. So I try to run a fine balance between keeping things entertaining, to sort of honor the fact that you would want to follow my account, and also promoting projects that I'm a part of and that kind of thing. But as far as it influencing the business, it absolutely is. Whether or not that's a good thing or a bad thing, I think we'll find out. I mean, I know there are people who have obtained voiceover roles strictly for the fact that they're an influencer, and they're horrible in the booth. And they act horribly, and they literally and figuratively, they act like as in they can't act, and they behave poorly in the booth because they feel like it's beneath them, or they feel like it's owed to them or something. So it's a weird time for that sort of thing. That's why I look at it like, if we could just go back to the level of like, is this person good behind the microphone? Do they show up early, act well, be professional, all that kind of stuff? That's what I liked about the voiceover business, and it's kind of changing a little bit because of the social media influence. So,
All right. Thank you so much.
thank you. Good question.
Thank you
Good
for your
question.
work too.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very nice of you. Thank you. Look at this, just smatter. This is a good smatter crowd, and I don't want anybody to sit in this section. I'm glad they roped it off, because it just keeps. Why? It's like, yeah. Go right ahead. Sorry. How are you, buddy?
Hey.
It's Bodie.
Yes.
Yes,
gave
I met
the
you yesterday.
hand hug.
What's up, buddy? Hand hug. That's
Hand
right.
hug, thank you. What's your favorite part about doing the role of Sonic that you've been doing for these past 8 to almost 9 years?
Oh boy. Just hoping to get to 10. I just want to get 10 years as a voice would be awesome. Sonic is such a fun character. I mean, like, he's so snarky and goofy and silly, and yet he's also like kind of good, and he's always out to do the right thing, and yet he's so confident. You know, it's sometimes a double-edged sword for him. It gets him into trouble because he's all that bravado. But really and truly, when we worked on the Sonic Boom TV series, we had the most fun with the character, meaning we were able to kind of play around with it, break those fourth walls, do a lot of like jokes about the memes of the Sonic franchise and the history of it, that kind of thing. So anytime we get to sort of break fourth walls and be kind of like self-referential as far as the character goes, I've always enjoyed that. So I would say the moments where we get to kind of poke a little fun at this crazy 25-year history of this character. So
Okay.
good answer.
Yes.
Excellent. Hand hug. Virtual hand hug.
Thank you.
Thanks, buddy.
Sonic Speed.
Sonic Speed. Hello.
Hi.
Hi. You're very well prepared. We're strapped. Yeah.
Well, a 1-year-old.
I know. I heard.
What is the coolest thing someone's ever given you to sign?
Oh boy, the coolest thing is someone's ever their soul.
Their soul?
Their soul.
How did that happen?
No, it wasn't. I honestly, I've had so many crazy things. Like every now and then somebody does something that's like handmade that you can tell. Oh, there's a gentleman here. He might even be in the room right now. He's literally taken a car or a truck. I gotta remember the pictures, and he has turned it into like this homage to the Assassin's Creed series. And so he's got like yesterday he brought the airbag cover. To the passenger side airbag cover to sign as Ezio and this kind of thing, and yet he's been here years past. I mean, every single stitch, every single like portion of this vehicle, from the inside to the outside, all these custom paint jobs, all these like fabrications and retrofitting, all this stuff, it's all dedicated to the Assassin's Creed series, and it's amazing. But I mean, I've had people. Man, I had a young lady yesterday bring me a picture of her brother who had passed away, who was cosplaying as Ezio, and she just said, "I want you to sign this because he would have loved to have had this." And it's like those kinds of things, like that's the stuff that hits you in the feels, because of so often what I do. I go in and I always say, like, I go in and I make duck farts for a living. Like, I just go in and into a microphone, and then I leave, and all these really talented people take that and they plug it into an animated character or a commercial or whatever it might be that can have an impact on people. And whereas I'm focused on the gig and I'm thinking about, I want to make sure I execute and do a good job and that kind of thing, it's easy for me to forget that it's like, well, this goes out and means something to someone, or so when fans give me stories associated with, even if it's just some simple little piece of paper or something like that, sometimes you find out that it's like, well, this has tremendous meaning to me, and here's why. You know, it's like this was connected to this, and it was a difficult time in my life, and I played this video game, or I watched this cartoon, and I loved this character, and that meant so much to me, or I met my husband or my wife or whoever it might be, like through our shared love of this project. And so every now and then you get those little sentimental things, but I don't know if it's like a cool or I'm trying to think like.
Well,
Do you have something cool you want to get signed? Is that what you're thinking, or you think it's the coolest thing I might ever sign?
Possibly.
Okay, no pressure.
I'm gonna have you sign my kid.
I don't know about signing a child.
No, his onesie. He's wearing.
Okay, cool. You might want to just say that a little bit more, like my kid's onesie is a better way of saying that. Like,
I know, but I like
I'm
the
pretty sure I'm
reaction I
not
get.
allowed to do that.
No,
Like,
I just like the reaction, the first reaction.
There you go, good. Yeah,
So that's
sign
why
my
I lead with
child.
that. Yeah, pretty much.
like, no, I will not sign your child.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, no, but thank you. That's cool. I will definitely sign your child's onesie. We're talking about clothing, right? Okay, good. Okay, good. It's like, yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of, it's, I want you to sign my kid. Onesie.
Here's my son.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was like my soul joke there for a minute there, sign my
Or a
soul.
kid's soul, yeah. Who knows?
What's the kid's name? Benjamin. Let's all turn around and say very quietly so we don't freak Benjamin out. Hi, Benjamin.
Oh, I thought that was. I thought that was.
That's when you squish him. You squish the baby. This is why I shouldn't be around children.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed.
Yeah.
I tend to sign them.
Yeah.
Hey kid, where you want me? Who to make this out to? To Benjamin. Believe in the magic of your dreams. All right, there we go, kid.
Yeah.
Off you go. Sorry. Hi.
Permanent marker.
Is this awkward?
Yeah. Oh, it's.
I'm carrying on my own conversation, and you're
pretty
just
good.
standing.
Nah, dude.
That's
I
a
love it.
mighty
Yeah.
sword.
Oh, thank you. It spins and I think a couple.
Ah.
I wanted to ask, in your years
Mhm.
of voice acting,
Mm.
if you could go back and talk to the earlier version of you, getting ready at the booth, preparing the voices, you then brewing up in the car ride there, what's maybe one of the virtues you would have to emphasize?
Oh wow, that's a
Yeah.
very good question. I'm 43 years old now, and I often have to remind myself there are times where you can get mired in the business, right? You can be so fixated on the next thing, or what am I doing now, and especially with social media now, we have to be very like, oh, am I engaging? Am I relevant? Am I, all these things. So you're very rarely present. And I'm getting much better about that now at this stage of my life. But back then, there's a good first 10 years of me doing this that it was just constantly like, what's next? What do I need to be getting next week, next month, next year? Where's this all going? What can I be doing? And so taking the time to kind of just relax into it and enjoy where you're at in the process, because when you start out in anything, I mean, I would imagine anybody who's going to, climb a mountain. It's, what is the old sayings, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. But it's like when all you see is that you're 1,000 miles away from where you think you want to be, that first sort of like those first stages just feel like, oh, I just got to get through this. Instead of you kind of going, I don't know, I worked today. That's a good thing. That's the dream. Like I booked a gig. And whether or not it's big, or whether or not you get to be Batman or any other major character that you think is like some sort of accolade that will then make you insert whatever it is here, fulfilled, happy, content, all these things that you think are going to happen once you achieve X, Y, and Z. Just enjoying the journey is like the hardest part, but it's really and truly where it's at. And because there's a lot of things that I feel like I missed out. Like this last, I got to do Sonic for Ralph Breaks the Internet and Wreck-It Ralph. And that the second time I got to walk the red carpet for Ralph Breaks the Internet. And that was the second carpet walk, or technically the third carpet walk I've ever done, right? And the first one was for Planes as Ripslinger for Disney Planes, and that was amazing because I got to be, like I was the main antagonist. I was a bad guy in a Disney film, and it was just incredible. It was an absolute dream come true. But at the time, I was going through a ton of stuff in my life, and I was so just not there, and I was so disconnected that it's like, and I was nervous as all get up. So the idea of like walking on a red carpet and doing all these things, it was just like, ugh. But it just sort of came and went. And then it was like, when it was done, it was like, oh man, I got to do that, and I don't even remember it. I just was so stressed out about all that kind of thing. So this most recent time, I got to go do the red carpet for Ralph Breaks the Internet, and I thought, Sega sent me a pair of Sonic the Hedgehog like limited edition Puma shoes that were really cool, and like translucent like soles, like these red soles that had Sonic the Hedgehog, like the logo like printed on the bottom of it. I was like, I'm gonna get a blue suit, and I'm gonna hire a publicist and a stylist and all that stuff. I was like, I'm gonna go and I want to wear these stupid shoes and as an adult and like go out and like help promote and do all this kind of stuff and just kind of own it. And so I went and I just had fun, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna use this for my own benefit right now. I'm going to go participate in this thing and celebrate the release of this film, the fact that I got to be a very small part of it, but go do this and just be very present in the moment. And I had more like family and close friends go, you looked like you were real happy, like you were just having a good time. And I was like, I was. It was like the weirdest thing. Like, it's so bizarre to do these things. Like the fact that you guys are all here, that like I'm the only person up here like facing all of you with a big microphone and all that, and it's like it's sort of weird to be like, why, you know, to try to be present in all of those things takes a little effort, and maybe it just takes time. But to give advice to anybody who's starting off, like try to find the joy in those little things. Your first gig, if you're an aspiring voice actor, will not be for very much money. It might even be free if you're smart. In an effort to try to kind of get in and like have people go, oh, this person's good, let's work with this person. And yet you still got to own that. Like it's sort of like never being ashamed of where you're at, knowing that you've still got your sights set on the top of that mountain, but enjoy the view along the way up. You know, it's like that's a tough thing. And it took me a long time to get better at it. And maybe that just comes with age and starting to not care about like what people think or that kind of thing. But I definitely look back and I have a lament of not having been more present in that journey and enjoying it a little bit more. So hope that helps.
Yeah, awesome answer from an awesome dude.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank you. Good smatter, everybody. Golf claps. We're working on golf claps. That's good.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
So you voiced over 150 characters on regular show.
I did.
Were there ever any moments where you were talking to your other characters using different voices so much that you began to lose your sense of surrounding?
Oh, for sure. So that's always kind of a fun thing. Usually in a voiceover session, so it's possible that we might have a situation where we're going to voice multiple characters in an episode, and those characters might interact. And depending upon the style of the scene or the voice prints that you're using, if they're very, very distinctly different, sometimes it's easy to kind of go back and forth. Very often we have the luxury of actually just saying, let's just do all of Thomas's lines for this scene, and then we'll come back and we'll record, you know, taco vendor number 4's, you know, lines if they're interacting kind of thing. But there have been moments where I've tried to. It's kind of a badge of pride, I think, for voice actors. And there's like Jim Cummings is here, and he's like just voiceover royalty, and he's incredible. He could do it like that. It would be nothing to him, I think, to switch between, you know, Tigger and Pooh and, you know, all these characters that he does, like just drop of a hat. But it's a little bit of a struggle for the rest of us who are human. There have been moments where we try to do it and you have fun. It's a badge of pride to be able to kind of switch between characters in a given scene. But I don't know about like losing I'm always kind of cognizant of where I am. It's sort of the sterile environment of a recording studio. It's one of the reasons why I like voice acting as opposed to on camera, is just because it's the ultimate theater of the mind. It's like you get I know that there are times where I kind of go cross-eyed in the middle of scenes because I'm literally just conjuring up in my head. We don't see any of the images. A lot of people assume that we record to an animated show, and with anime, what we call localizing, where you're taking something that was done in Japanese and putting it into English, then we already see the finished product because it was already basically animated in Japanese as the primary language. Now it comes over to us, and we got to swap the words out and do all this kind of stuff. So we're seeing that. We act along to that, and we try to make our words fit, that kind of thing. But for original animation, for all the Unikitty, for Avengers Assemble, all these things, did I say? Yeah, Captain America. For all the original animation, it's just a radio play. So it's just a group of actors sitting around in kind of a U shape or however it might be. and we just see the dialogue, and there's little bits of scene description, but we get to just kind of make it up to a certain degree as to what we think the performance would be like, and the director tells us louder, faster, funnier, that kind of thing, and then we get to see the finished product. So it is kind of like losing yourself to a degree, where you get to kind of just sort of go inside your head and think, I guess this is what they want as far as the vocal performance, and whether or not it's going to be animated that way is not up to me. But I mean, you're still in kind of like a big sterile recording booth. It looks a lot like this kind of a thing, so it's not like you feel like you're in a wig and makeup and surrounded by other actors that are also wearing big costumes and things like that, to where you can like lose your mind. It's mostly just, it's kind of like an execution of work. But it's the absolute most enjoyable, fun job. I said this yesterday. I get to go to work and leave work in a far better mood than I arrived, which is a very big blessing in life. It's a big rarity to show up and it'd be like, oh man, traffic, and then all of a sudden you're like, it's like you can't not be in a good mood getting to, like I say, make duck farts into a microphone.
Thank you.
Thank you. Smatter. Good job. Good smatter. Good smatter. Well executed smatter, everyone. Good smatter.
Hi there, how you
Hello.
doing?
How are you?
Pretty good.
Good.
And I had a question, actually, which I'm going to assume people have approached you, and maybe you've even asked yourself about it, about the Sonic movie that's been delayed, but that's coming out supposedly next year.
I hadn't heard about this. Is there a Sonic film that's coming out? Interesting. No, I wasn't. Do I ask myself about that? Roger, what are your thoughts on this Sonic film that's coming out? And that's crazy. It's been delayed. What? Roger, don't say that. No, it really has been delayed. Why would they delay the Sonic film, Roger? Roger, that's a good question. Roger, let me tell you why. I've said this many times, and obviously, if you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, I've been having fun with this without trying to like weigh in, because I know there's a lot of people want to like know, like, oh, do you hate it? The fact that you're not in it and all that kind of stuff. And this is a business. At the end of the day, I know we hate thinking that sort of way, because these are all things that we love and whatnot, but it is a business. There are investors, there are people who are risking their money to help bring this project to light so that it might make money for them and also provide some entertainment. So oh no, Benjamin, say it ain't so. It was Benjamin, right? Okay. Sorry. It's like mind like a hummingbird up here. And I had some fun with the Twitter stuff, and without trying to like weigh in, I think one of the first little sniper tweets that I had was like, hey, it's weird when you see like a character you've known for like your whole life, a famous blue wisecracking character you've known your whole life, and then to see what they're going to do with that character in an upcoming film. And I just tweeted that, and I knew like some of the Sonic fans would be like, oh! And then I tweeted a picture of Will Smith as the genie from the Aladdin. And I was like, why? Who'd you think I was talking about? And then I had an old photo shoot that I did years ago where I took like dime store costume versions of like characters that I had voiced. So I did Chris Redfield, Ezio, Batman, Captain America, and Sonic the Hedgehog. And I just went and bought these cheap costumes, and I just, for a photo shoot, put like some version of every single one of those things on, and it turned out to be kind of creepy and weird. But the photographer's like, as you do like each one, let's just do like a couple individual shots. And I had this really silly version of me just looking like normal facial expression, wearing this horrible Sonic the Hedgehog costume. And all of a sudden, it was like I woke up. I was in Idaho at the time, and I woke up, and the director the night before had said, like, the director of the film had said, message received, everyone, changes will be made. And so I just tweeted out a photo of myself in this outfit and said, message received, everyone, changes have been made, and you're welcome. And it was easily the most successful tweet I've ever had, because it was I didn't say anything about the film. I never mentioned a film. I just was like, well, here you go. This is me in the Sonic outfit. I am so lucky to get to be a part of any franchise. Like, getting to be the voice of any character in any project any day is such a victory. A day behind a voiceover microphone is just the best day you can possibly have. Getting to be a part of something as iconic and worldwide recognized as like Sonic the Hedgehog, that's been around for quarter of a century, that a lot of us grew up, like some of our first video games were like Sonic the Hedgehog, that kind of thing. Getting to be a part of that is awesome, and I've been very, very fortunate to voice this character in 2 Disney films, in an animated series, in countless video games. It's just incredible, right? Anything that helps promote that and further that franchise to a larger audience is just a win-win. So I, of course, want this film to succeed. I'm not bent out of shape about not getting to do the voice. We reached out, I think, very early on, and we're like, hey, even if you needed help with scratch or something like that, we've sort of established a way that this character is voiced over the last 10 years, that kind of thing. And we didn't necessarily hear back, and I wasn't expecting to hear back in that regard. And I get it, because if you're looking at this strictly from an investment standpoint, if you're a shareholder or if you're somebody who actually is investing in this project, and they say, good news, we got Roger Craig Smith to do the voice, and you're just a shareholder, you're like, who is Roger Craig Smith? And why are we going to risk the fact that nobody knows who this person is? So that's where the social media elements and all that kind of stuff come into play, where they look and they go like, well, look, Ben is a very gifted actor. He's a really nice guy. He's been on some very successful series. He will garner an audience already built in that might really enjoy hearing him as this character. So let's go with that. And I guarantee you he was on a list of people they were looking at. It's like that's how the business works. So I look at it like it's incredible to me that they've delayed it, that they're going to actually go back. I mean, that speaks volumes of the fact that they're listening to what the fan base is reacting to, which is really an interesting thing to witness from a studio. It's crazy to think that they're going to spend a lot of money and go back and fix this to make it right for you guys, because very clearly it was, it had a reaction, just a little bit. Human teeth, all this stuff. But it's like, look, they're also going to try to do something. Everything has to adapt. Everything has to change. I mean, it's like you couldn't just keep doing the same thing from the 90s over and over and over again, because eventually everybody would get fed up and bored. If you go back and look at the original Simpsons, it's like, what? That's what they sounded like? That's what they looked like? All squiggly and weird, animation style? And it's like, yeah, that's how it started. And now they sound like they do now. And it's like, you go, oh, weird. They didn't sound like that in the beginning. So that's how it has to go.
But just to confirm, it's like...
No, just the one question. Just kidding.
But just to confirm, given the fact, even though you've voiced the character for so long, when you did happen to hear word that they were making a Sonic live-action movie, you had, realistic expectations, like you didn't let yourself get carried away, I'm guessing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not under any contractual obligations to Sega or anything like that. The business doesn't work that way. Like, I don't own these characters. It's one of the reasons why we tend to be very protective and have to be very careful about when somebody asks us to do something in a character voice that may or may not be kind of questionable. It's like, well, I don't own this character. Like, yeah, I provide the voice and I've done this sort of thing, but I have to be aware of the fact that this could be detrimental to the thing that I'm a part of, which is much, much bigger than I. And so whenever these things come out, it's like, in a perfect world, you'd be like, I hope they consider me. That'd be amazing. But I'm also in a very, very, very rare and very coveted and very humbling position of I've achieved so many dream come true moments in my career that it's ridiculous. I mean, getting to walk the red carpet as a Disney villain was like, drop the mic, we're done. It's like, here we go. Like, I cannot believe I got to be a part of that. I cannot believe I got to voice Sonic the Hedgehog. I can't believe I got to look somebody in the eye and go like, I'm Batman. That kind of stuff is insane, right? Captain America, like all these things that I've been a part of are such victories that you go into this business just hoping for one little victory. Like, I just want to hear my voice on the radio, or I just want to hear my voice on a TV commercial or whatever. And it's like, I get to, quite literally, I live in Los Angeles, California. I'm the voice of K-Rock Radio down there, which is like the #1 alternative station down there. And I've been doing that for coming up on maybe 9 years, 10 years now. And I grew up listening to this radio station. So I still listen to that radio station. So I hear me doing all of the imaging and all the promos for concerts and things like that. And then I've literally had where, while listening to the radio, driving to work, I had, it did 106.7 KROQ FM and HD1, blah, blah, just this whole thing, station identification. The next commercial that aired was a Ram truck commercial that was featuring my voice, and the following commercial after that was a Diet Dr. Pepper commercial that I had recorded as well. So I literally had the hat trick, the trifecta of radio imaging, another commercial, and another commercial all on one station, and it's like, that's just driving around all day long. I get to hear myself on the radio, on TV, and have fans reach out on social media and say like, hey, I'm loving to play Mirage. I main Mirage as my character in Apex Legends, so all these things have become like, what do I? I'm going to complain about not getting to be a part of a Sonic the Hedgehog movie? It's like, I cannot complain in life, and I wish it the best, because it only serves me in doing what I do for the video games and other projects. It's like, it only serves me well. It makes us look good as a franchise. If it gets more more eyeballs on this, that's great for Sega, great for the character. So I wish it the absolute best success.
Well, you have my compliments. You sound very generous.
Thank you. It's all an act. Because as soon as I go backstage, I just start crying. I'm not in a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. That was almost above a smatter, everybody. That was almost light applause. You guys watch yourselves. And nobody sit anywhere in here. Good. Because there's painter's tape.
Oh, hi, I'm Danny.
This is random. Hi.
Yeah, my favorite show is Unikitty.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, my question is, how do you do the voice for Richard, which is just the most boring but funniest floating Lego brick?
So Richard is essentially this kind of a voice. This is about as exciting as Richard gets. Quite literally, hey everyone, I just won the lottery today. I'd like to share the really good news with everyone that I am now a billionaire. Free tacos for everyone. I mean, you hear it. This is literally like it's not like it's really hard to come up with Richard. Like, I go to a very dark place. Richard has a lot of sense memory experiences that I'd rather not talk about right now. Part of my motivation is not getting to be the voice of Sonic the Hedgehog in the upcoming Sonic the Hedgehog movie. But thanks for bringing it up, man. This is great. I'm gonna have a meltdown in front of dozens of people. No, Richard is just like literally when they were describing that character, and we went through like quite a casting call on Unikitty for that. Richard was he was supposed to be the very put upon, assistant to Princess Unikitty, and yet he was just very flat and boring. So I conjure up a little bit of like, what are you doing, Dave? I'm afraid I can't let you do that, Dave. Open the pod bay doors, Hal. So there's a lot of that into it. But that's also just going into a very quiet and breathy. He's a good example of, because the other character is Hawkedial. And Hawkedial's like, whoa, bro! Like, super loud! And I can't do Hawkedial and then go to this character if I'm doing 2 episodes of Wah! And then trying to do this. So we would very often go through, on Unikitty episodes, I was the pain in the butt client, because I would show up about a half hour before everybody else, and we would get all of Richard's lines done for both episodes. And then we would go back as an ensemble cast, and I could do Hawkedial. Because if I do this, I scratch up the voice too much, and pretty soon Richard sounds like this, and it's not very Richard-y sounding. So, but I wish I could tell you that there's some wonderful story about how I conjured up this boring voice, but I basically just sound as boring as I can. And then my favorite part is the Richard scream, which it was just like a random sort of like, we just came up with that. But so you have this very like boring character, and then whenever he freaks out, it's always. So that's Richard screaming.
Yeah.
It's a very uncharacteristic scream.
All right.
And I'm a big, strong 43-year-old man screaming. That's it's good stuff.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Thank you. There you go. Back to a smatter. Well done, everybody. Yeah, this light applause thing doesn't work for me. Doesn't work.
Hi.
Hi.
I was wondering, what was your favorite part of voicing Datara in Naruto?
Favorite part of voicing Datara from Naruto was obviously art is an explosion, getting to scream that many, many times. But the ultimate art, at the very, very spoiler alert, for this sort of what we thought was the final fight with me and Liam O'Brien, it was a rarity to kind of get a chance to kind of sink your teeth into a character for anime, and especially because localization projects tend to be kind of clinical in the way that we approach them. You have a finite amount of time in which to deliver a given line, and you've got these beeps. So the way it works is you'll turn to page 47. Your first line is, why you iota, and you've got, there's only so much time to match those mouth flaps that have been done for another language. And so it tends to become an exercise in kind of being clinical. It's sort of a formulaic approach to acting, to where you've got that fourth imaginary beep, which is when you go and you're watching it and you try to get it on the first take, but sometimes you got to take 2 or 3 takes to get the line. But with that particular sequence, there were a number of moments that like Liam and I got to have fun with that sort of final battle. And I wish I could remember the moment, but I've forgotten where it was. There was some line where Liam, and I'm just calling him Liam, where Liam says something to Deidara, and Deidara has this creepy where he just kind of goes, ooh, Like, and he has this weird moment where he's like, yeah, like he was starting to like this idea that he was about to just basically explode himself to take Liam O'Brien out. I'm just gonna call him Liam from here on out. And I thought that was a really neat kind of moment. It was rare to kind of have like a lot of fun with this character and kind of sink our teeth into it. And Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who was our director at the time, she loved that stuff. So she was always giving us time to kind of work that big final scene. So yeah, I would say those little moments where he gets to be kind of extra creepy. Because he's a creepy dude. Thank you. Art is an explosion! Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I just want to know, what's your favorite Sonic meme?
Sonic meme. What's my favorite Sonic meme? Do you have a favorite one? See, now Benjamin's all happy. He likes the Sonic memes. Was that Benjamin? Okay, good.
There's a recent one they posted where it's the owl from the Sonic animated movie, and it's replacing the How Do You Do, Fellow Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably my favorite at the moment.
Very cool. Okay. I think my Sonic meme, the Sonic stuff's always great. I love looking at the Sonic stuff. From like maybe the Boom series specifically, or what?
Any Sonic meme, really.
I'm trying to think. I thought it was really kind of funny. It was amazing to kind of see, and this is a testimony to the writers on that show. Which, if you've not seen the Sonic Boom series, like it's not for little kids. I don't think. I don't mean for that to say that it's inappropriate for little kids, but there's so many jokes that might fly over the head of little ones. But it's a very well written show. We had a ton of fun recording it. But there was a moment where, and I couldn't believe this, but all of a sudden it caught fire after the airing of the episode, where Knuckles was considered to be super woke. Because he had this whole section where he talked about feminism and equality and all this stuff in this rare moment where Knuckles, who's like usually is just like a brick wall in terms of like his thoughts. And it was really funny because Amy said something about, I wish I could remember the actual dialogue, but it's so perfectly well written and well executed, and it just took fire. Like people were literally like all these different websites started picking up going like, you'll never forget the day you'll never forget where you were when you first realized that Knuckles was woke. And it's like the fact that show had little things like that, and to this day, like there are still random little things that happen where like all of a sudden something will just catch fire from that Sonic Boom series, because the writing was so good. They did such a great job creating the comedy on that. So
Thank you.
decent. Smatter, everyone. Smatter. Little. There we go. Just like two people over here. Go perfect, and one over there. Just come on, keep on. Thank you very much. Good. That's good.
Hello. So there's been 4 Sonic Twitter takeovers so far,
Yes.
where you answer questions based off of what people tweet.
Yes.
Do you, Kirk, Mike, and Colleen get any input into terms of the answer that gets put out from the writers, or is it just dance monkey dance?
They will let us. Yeah, it's a lot of dance monkey dance, but they will let us. And they give us peanuts, which is kind of nice. Yeah. They give us like Aaron. So Aaron Weber is the guy that basically runs. He's got a team, and he's one of the guys that basically runs the entire Sonic Twitter handle. And it's amazing because it's like since he took over, he had such a sharp idea, and he's really like a good-spirited dude that wanted to create like some philanthropic elements. He wanted to kind of make sure that we started tying that Sonic the Hedgehog account in with charitable events. But in the meantime, he's very savvy, and he knows a lot of memes, and he knows the history of this character so well that he can kind of help have fun with it and kind of skewer it a little bit, but in a very playful way, as a nice wink to the fan base. I lost my train of thought just now. When we do these Twitter takeovers, and essentially what a Sonic the Hedgehog account Twitter takeover is that you use the hashtag #AskSonic, and he does like one maybe every couple of years or so, a year and a half, somewhere in there. And the fans get to ask Sonic any sort of a question. And then we go into a studio and we record the audible answer to the question, and then they animate it very loosely with little things and a little waveform playing, that kind of thing. And you were asking if we have sort of any input on this. And Aaron has said many times, if you come up with something that you think is funny that the character would say or that kind of thing, by all means. But really and truly, it's Aaron and a team of people who are scouring the internet. They're looking at all the questions. They're trying to find ones that they could, that would be good, that they could incorporate the group of actors and responding. And they write it like on the fly. We now have gotten to a point where we have these little iPads with like a Google Doc on it, and it just uploads the information on there. We see the script. We record it. It gets all in-house, literally sent over to the audio guys. They polish the audio. They send that to the video guys. The video guys do it. And so there's a big collaborative effort that's happening there to make that happen. And every now and then we'll pepper in little ad-libs and things like that to try to make it funnier. But for the most part, it's Aaron and his staff, like, kind of completing the scripts, and they send that to us. And every now and then I'll try to throw in something that I think would be a little sharper, funnier, that kind of thing. But for the most part, it's like it's Aaron and the team trying to make those funny little scripts for us.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. There we go. Proper smatter. Proper smatter. Good job, everybody. Good job. Oh, I like this. That's even better. What is that? That's a round of applause. You, yada. Hello.
Hello, I apologize. I woke up yesterday with no voice.
It happens.
It does.
I'm going to answer all of the questions like this now.
Oh, well, I mean, okay.
As long as you understand it. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery.
No, I
which is what
I
people
agree.
say when they're trying to make fun of someone.
Exactly.
Like, no. Imitation is the sincerest form
But
of
it's
flattery.
okay, I'm laughing with you, too.
Okay, good.
Good, yeah.
Everybody, round of applause.
Thank you.
No.
Thank you. No,
There you
well,
go.
Not
Who's
too
clapping?
fast.
I said a round of applause. Well done. Look at this crazy person in the back doing round of applauses.
I just want them to put their hands together.
Okay. Namaste, everyone. Namaste.
Thank you. My name's Trevor. We actually met a couple years back at Liam and Sam's.
Trevor?
Yes.
Dude!
Yeah.
I mean, dude!
Yeah, it's okay.
Trevor,
Yeah,
how
it
are
works
you?
out. We met a couple years back at Liam and Sam's after hours.
Yes.
All work, no play.
Yes, all work, no play, yes.
It was fantastic getting to meet you.
I'm still sick from that, as you can hear. It happens.
It happens.
Yeah.
One of the questions that I had wanting to get into voice acting is how much of it comes down to yourself and doing like the social media aspect and trying to get out there and finding I don't want to call them cattle calls for auditions, but
Yeah.
that's how I've often heard them described as.
Yep.
And how much of it comes down to things like a good agent, location, union stuff.
So in starting out, I see the question is like how much of it is based on like if you're starting out and trying to get started in voice acting, how much of it is cattle call, auditions, that kind of thing, versus having a great agent, that kind of thing. And my answer is it's everything. It's all of that. Like when you're starting out, like so my story of like where I began was I was doing sort of before, during, and after college. Screenwriting was my major. I was doing stand-up comedy, so I was performing stand-up comedy during that time. And as a result of stand-up comedy, and the way you try to get started in that is you start off with bringer rooms where you bring 20 of your closest friends and they have to each buy 2 drinks and food and all this stuff and pay the cover charge. You then start developing material, and then you get to go on and do your own sets. Then you get to start opening for other famous comedians, and then you get to start middling for famous comedians, and then you start to do private gigs and corporate gigs, and you start emceeing. And all along the way, I would host like a charity event or something and then do stand-up and that kind of thing for some private entity that wanted something like that done. And you will have people come up to you and go like, oh, you got a good speaking voice. Do you work for radio stations or that kind of thing? You go, no. And then finally you have more people in the industry saying, you should really think about voice acting. So you start looking into voice acting, you take classes, that kind of thing. And then you start pounding the pavement in your local area. And I literally went around, I put on a suit and tie and had the world's worst voiceover demo printed on thin little CDs, which was all wrong. But I went around and knocked on doors. I like Googled all these places to try to find out where these post-production houses were. Dropped off a demo, that kind of thing. And I literally told people, I'm like, I'm based in Orange County. I'm good. First one's free. I'm like, I'll do the first one for free just so you get to see what it's like to work with me. Like I'll give it away. Just so you get a chance to get your pinky toenail in the door to have them kind of go, oh, we like working with this guy, or ooh, this guy's got versatility, or oh, he's professional, or this kind of thing. And it's like you have to put in a ton of effort on your own when you're starting out, and then hopefully if you've invested enough in yourself and invested enough to show others too, they're like, hey, I take this seriously. I've taken classes. I've got a website that I've developed. I've got my demo files are ready to go. Like all these things that take time, that big mountaintop of getting to book a voiceover gig, or joining the union or whatever your dream might be. You start off super small and pounding the pavement and doing it kind of on your own. It's an entrepreneurial kind of an approach. So that's the start. And then from there, a little more progress, a little more development, that kind of thing. Then you might garner the attention of an agent. And all along the way, there's going to be people who are going to try to take advantage of you and tell you, they're like, hey, kid, come over here, give me $1,000 and I'll give you a class and you get a free demo at the end of it. And it's like, don't ever take those types of classes. It's like, you'll know when you're ready for a demo, and no one's just going to tell you, just here's a demo. It's like, that could be detrimental to your career. Like, if you feel like you need to progress more, or if you're not competitive or that kind of thing, you'll know I don't need to put myself out there just yet. But in the meantime, I can do on-hold messages. I literally was driving around, and I had to learn the hardware systems and the software systems for on-hold message machines for businesses, because I was offering that as a service. It's like, I'll record it for you, and I'll upload it to your little system. Like, and that way you get a customized. I did it for an old pizza place that I worked at, and had to say stupid lines like delicioso, and like on hold. I was just like, really? That's what you want me to write? Okay. It's like,
Try
good.
our new.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like that's how it goes. Like, it's an entrepreneurial kind of a thing, and so there's really no one specific way to do it or go about it, because if there was, then everybody would try to do that one specific thing. It's kind of up to you to figure out, am I ready to take another step and try to pull myself up one more rung of a ladder kind of thing. But it's everything. I mean, to this day, I still audition every single day. Still have to submit as often as possible. I've got an agency and I'm established, which is great, but I have to keep proving myself over and over and over again. So it's everything and always. And social media is another element now. I have to try to be aware and engaging and try to do things that are funny or entertaining or whatever it might be, so that I keep building my numbers, which I hate. But I love doing it for you guys, which sounds horrible. No, I don't like social media in general, as you can tell. Are you picking up on that at all?
Oh, I'm right there with you, Mr. Smith.
Is it aware? Cool.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good luck. Smatter, everyone. Just a really good smatter. I like this. Wait till the smatter dies down, please. Okay, now you may approach. And at the end of this question, I want you all to lose your minds with applause and screaming and yelling. Is that good? Are you the end of the line? Okay, good. Yeah. Well, I don't know. I don't know if we have time. We might not have time for you. Just saying, just 10 more minutes. We'll see. I might take 11 minutes to answer this question.
You think I'll get? You actually might.
It's exactly. That's yesterday's joke. I'm not your dad.
So, is there any ad-lib line that made to the final product?
In anything that I do?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah. One of the greatest. I mean, that happens all the time, especially in original animation. We get to have a lot of fun with that sort of thing. But it just depends. Sometimes they don't want you to do a lot of ad libs. The proudest moment I have as far as an ad lib that made it into a final picture was in Disney's Planes, Rip Slinger. There was a line that we came back in shortly before the release of the film. Came back in to do a line, and they said, we need you. Your character comes along, and his prop slices through Skipper's tail section to kind of like injure Skipper, and then he flies off, and he just does like, we just need like a bad guy laugh, like a and I was like, I'm sitting there, and this was one of those rare instances where when I might take 11 minutes to answer this. As far as advice goes, when people are saying like it's very easy for you to get like obsessive compulsive about your voiceover career if you're wanting to do this, right? And you just try to fixate on all the things that I can do. And really and truly, if you've got other interests in the world, if you've got other things that you're trying to do as far as work or that kind of thing, you've got to also pursue those things. You cannot just become this robot who just wants to do voiceover or voice acting, whatever it might be, because you will be shocked at how, if you live a more rounded life, all these other things will come into play and influence and affect your, in a positive way, affect your ability to be a competent voice actor. So screenwriting was my major, and that came into play when we came back to do this little line for Rip Slinger in the film, and Clay Hall, the director, was just like, yeah, we just need to do like a laugh. And I was like, okay, but his prop just sliced through Skipper's tail, right? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, you guys have called these things sky slicers the whole movie. And I was like, how about, this is the perfect opportunity for Rip Slinger to go, that's why we call them sky slicers, as he flies away. And Clay was like, yes, do that. And so like this ad lib that was just me just kind of going, yeah, how about this? And he was like, yeah. And that's a screenwriting technique known as like, it's like a plant and payoff or a callback or that kind of thing. So the whole movie, they were saying like, the sky slicer, blah, 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 like this tail, this turbo prop, this prop that was on the plane. And I thought, well, this is a perfect opportunity for you to like call back to this is why we call them sky slicers. I slice through the guy's tail and I fly off laughing. And they went back and reanimated the scene to include the mouth movements for my character to say that. And it was like, that's money that they spent to do that. And I was just like, victory as far as like, I did my job well. Like, but we ad-lib stuff all the time, especially in Sonic Boom. A lot of that stuff.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
On your feet! On your feet! All of you! All of this side! You're my favorite side! All of you!
Guys, that's all the time I have. No more questions. No more questions. But I will take a question from anyone over here.